Am I the astronaut for telling my dad he's not my dad at my mom's retirement party, and then finding out half my family paid to keep it quiet? I, 28 female, bought an Ancestry DNA kit last year for fun. My parents, Linda, 62 female, and Dan, 64 male, are the picture of a 40-year-old church picnic marriage. I expected you're 98% whatever your family says you are, and maybe a surprise fourth cousin. Results come in. 0 paternal matches from Dan's side. Instead, I get a 50% match with Emily, 32 female, labeled half-sibling. Emily messages me, I think we need to talk. Her mom had a fling in the early 90s with a married guy named Tom who vanished when she got pregnant. I do some sleuthing. Tom lives 2 downs over, runs a landscaping company, and has my face. How dare he? Same chin, same eyes, same weird little dimple that looks like a typo. I confront my mom privately. She denies, then says it was before marriage. Math, I'm 28, they've been married 40 years. I call that out. She edits the story. It was a short separation. Dan knew he chose love. I leave shaking. Fast forward to last weekend, mom's retirement party. Big hall, slideshow, speeches, the whole "we'll miss you, Mrs. L" thing. My grandma, Dan's mom, 86 female, is front row with pearls and a smile that says she's in charge of gravity. During Share a Memory, my cousin jokes, tell us something we don't know. I had 2 glasses of Pinot and a lifetime of gaslighting. I take the mic and say, fun fact, apparently my dad isn't my dad. Silence. You could hear the potato salad give up. What does potato salad giving up sound like? Dan looks confused. Like first time hearing this confused. Mom freezes. Grandma stands up fast and says, that's enough. Like she's calling a dog off a roast. I open the app and show the half-sibling match, and then I say, also, this is Emily, and wave her up because my grandmother invited Emily, thinking she was just my new friend. We live in the same town. And then dominoes start falling. Dan whispers to my mom, what is she talking about? Mom whispers back, we talked about this years ago. And Dan says out loud, no, we didn't. Grandma says, kitchen, now, like she's the CEO of Secrets, Inc. In the kitchen, Grandma tells me to apologize to Dan for being cruel. I ask, did he know? Grandma says he didn't need to. Dan says, so I didn't. Mom starts crying. Guests are pretending not to hover. My aunt is trying to literally pull the door shut on a room full of adults. I leave. The party implodes. Dan takes an Uber home. Grandma glares daggers at me like I spilled state secrets. The next morning, Dan shows up at my apartment with a CVS paternity test and his hands shaking. We do the swabs right there. He never looked so small. 2 days later, 0%. Dan breaks down and says, I would have raised you either way. I just wish I wasn't the last to know. Damn. Here's where the whole thing levels up to a government level cover-up. Grandma has known the entire time. Mom's sister, my aunt, has known the entire time. 2 neighbors from my childhood knew the entire time. Dan did not. At all. How do I know? Because Emily sends me screenshots from Tom, a photo of a handwritten agreement from 1996 between Grandma, my mom, and Tom, witnessed by my aunt, who is a notary, stating that Tom would relinquish involvement if financial assistance was provided and no public identification was made. There are check stubs to Tom for years labeled Retainer Groundskeeping Church, and the signature on many of them, Grandma's. We confront. Grandma admits it, calmly, like she's reciting a recipe. She said Dan was fragile back then, and men don't recover from humiliation. She says she paid Tom to keep his distance and his mouth shut until the statute of limitations on everyone's feelings expired. I don't think that's a thing, Grandma. Her exact words. I can't make that up. Where did the hush money come from? Ready? My college fund. The one that took a hit in the '08 crash and wasn't what they hoped. Turned out it was exactly what they hoped. Quiet. Grandma frames it like she bought us all peace. I left with student loans and a "you're so resilient" balloon. Oh, and because the universe loves bonus content, remember Emily? She's not the only match. Jake, the son of my mom's best friend, the kid I grew up with, camped with, called cousin as a joke, is also a half-sibling. His mom took a test for the Ancestry map. Guess who popped up? Tom was apparently landscaping everyone's yard in the 90s. So here's the updated cast list. Dan, not my bio dad, didn't know. Grandma, Dan's mom, paid hush money, orchestrated cover-up, invited my half-sister to the party without even knowing who she was. Mom had the affair, lied, claimed Dan knew. Aunt/notary witnessed the agreement. Tom, bio dad, quiet for cash. Emily, half-sister, saint for not exploding sooner. Jake, half-brother or family friend, his mom also knew and decided it wasn't relevant. After the whole party incident, Dan moved into my guest room for a week to get space from Grandma and Mom. He keeps saying, I would have chosen you, and it wrecks me. He asked why I did it at the party. I told him the truth because everyone treated me like the only person who didn't deserve the truth. He said, you still shouldn't have found out with an audience. He's right. I'm not proud of the venue. Grandma wants me to undo the public damage, ? And apologize to her for ruining Mom's milestone. She says secrets keep families intact. I said, so does honesty, sometimes. Mom is rage crying and says I humiliated her. I asked why she told me Dan knew. She said Grandma told her to say that if it ever came up because the story plays better. Tom texted me through Emily that Grandma's payment stopped around my 18th birthday with a note, we're square. He sent a photo of the last check, memo line, final retainer. Who writes that? The mob? My grandmother and her bridge club? A few weeks later, Dan told me he did a full legal paternity test for closure. It matched the CVS one. He cried, then asked if I still wanted him to walk me down the aisle one day if it comes to that. I said, always. We both ugly cried in a Starbucks like a pair of seasonal lattes. Grandma called while I was there. I put it on speaker. She said, this is exactly why we keep quiet, because look how emotional everyone is. Dan said, Mom, you didn't protect me. You managed me. Then he hung up. I have never loved him more. That's the end.
I was just
Grandma, they coming for you.
I was just tuned in like this was an episode of Jerry Springer because I was like the whole time, what the f*** just happened?
Imagine all of this starting with an Ancestry DNA kit, for fun. And how many people has that happened to who do the Ancestry DNA test and then find out they aren't who they thought they were?
Well, according to my brother and sister, it would happen to me. Because I was
Tony Spark, it happened to his neighbors. Like
I was adopted. You had an adopted kid in your family. Yeah,
we told my little sister, Tipsy Thunder. We told her we found her under a rock.
I was just told that I didn't look like anyone in my family, therefore I did not belong. That was my childhood.
Good gravy.
No, I don't. That was a lot, and I'm sure that the day of the retirement party and everyone acting just like super nonchalant, and she's just sitting here with this like burning secret in her chest, and
the Pinot made it fly out.
And it just came out. Like I that's how I imagine it would. That's a fucked up thing to do, to say that your husband knew when he had no idea.
Yeah, and yes, it was his mom. His mom is Grandma in the story, not her mom. It's Dan's mom.
Yeah.
And why OP is calling him Dan here. I know why at this point, but like functionally he's dad to her and has always been dad and will always be dad, right? So
I think family is defined by who shows up for you, who you show up for, and blood does not make families.
Agreed. And that, it's wild.
Yeah.